Friends, welcome back to Invest and Grow. Today let's discuss about performance returns and benchmark. If you are here for the first time, consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get started. All right, in general, what is actually performance returns? Let's say you have some amount invested in your investment account, whether you manage all your investment by your own or you walk into some wealth manager and give your amount and have them managed. One of the key measures is that how much your investment had performed over a time. The way to measure this is the performance returns. Let's talk about what is actually performance returns and how we can measure against the benchmark. All right, let's look into a sample for this one. So performance returns is for the same example. Let's say you have $10,000 invested, and you had invested last year, and you're trying to understand how much your portfolio had performed over the last entire year. The measure the returns, like whether it is 7% or 10%, that is the return on investment. More the return, it's better your investment. Let's say your investment performs bad, it's going to go in negative. So you invest 10,000, and if it is the market is not doing well, then you're going to lose money. So in the place where you invested 10,000, now it's only 8,000. Literally you lost money, and the performance return is going to be negative. So the term investment returns is to tell whether the investment had yielded you positive returns or negative returns. All right, now having gotten this context, what is benchmark? Benchmark is an standard measure to which to tell that whether your investment had performed in a good standard or substandard or in better standards. So how these benchmarks are determined? There are certain measures in which the equity level benchmark and fixed income level benchmark are determined. We are going to use as a basic sample to go over. In general, for equity, S&P 500 and Dow Jones are used as a standard key market indices or a benchmark. So let's say your investment return had performed 8% and Dow Jones or S&P had performed 10%, your investment is 2% behind. So you're not actually beating the standard benchmark. Whether it's true whether you manage your investment or your own or an advisor manages your investment, literally you are not beating the market index. Now you get the context. For equity, as we said, S&P is one of the standard thing, and for fixed income, it's Barclays. Just to give a kind of a quick view, look into this one. So this composition S&P, I just pulled out the S&P composition. So S&P market indices contains these kind of various securities, and this is their weightage. So if you are wondering what makes the S&P market index composition, now you know that these are the various underlying composition. And similarly for fixed income, this is the US, I mean the Barclays US Ag composition. So these are measured by or the weighted against treasury bills, Fannie Mae, various government securities, municipal or government securities. These are the underlying composition of the securities. So once it is getting measured against your investment, you know that what are the underlying composition there are. So as a retail investor, can you even determine by yourself what is the appropriate market indices or a benchmark? In reality, you may not. So what all the banks, your broker dealer or the brokerage account firm develops is that they develop something called a performance report. Similar to statements, depending upon the institution that you are in, they may generate a quarterly or an annual. So you let's look into a sample momentarily, but I'm just providing context that the performance report is going to tell you that this is what your account has done over the time, whether 1 year, 3 year, 5 year since inception, and this is how your returns have performed, and this is the benchmark return. Finally, it's also going to tell you that whether your investment has bet the benchmark or not. Okay, I'm going to use a real-time sample to demonstrate this one, and this is one of my managed account. I'm just using for demonstration purpose, so don't get hung up on the actual returns it's really yielding. Let's look into this one. So this is an performance report which was generated as of December end. So this is my own portfolio, and let's look into this one, right? So to begin with, I had invested 5,000, and and literally the ending market value as of the December end is literally $500. So I had pulled out money. So let's when they look into performance report, you are interested in multiple facets like how much it performed last quarter, year to date, 1 year trailing, 3 year trailing, 5 year, and since inception return. So it provides a comprehensive view of like how your investment had performed over time, and the structure and layout may be different depending upon the firm that you are invested in, but in fundamentally the principle or concept is the same. So here, the last quarter, beginning quarter, I had like $453, and towards the end of December, I had 510. So literally, the return on investment is 12%. The portfolio had yielded positive 12%. If I compare year to date, so begin with, I had a year to date which literally goes back to January 1st of 2020. I started with 10,000 and odd. To for various reasons, I pulled out money from this portfolio, so that's why you see contribution as negative, because I pulled out this money from this account. So eventually, I left with 510 towards the end of December. Even then, it generated a positive amount of return, so that's why it's 10.5. So on and so forth you get. So if you go to the since inception, the amount that I invested had yielded a return of 11.8, which is not bad. When you look into the average investment, typically a 6 to 7% is a decent return in overall stock market. Anything greater than 10 is really good. Now you get a view of the investment. Let's momentarily look into the benchmark. So these are the benchmark, right? In reality, in ideally, if the benchmark and the returns are on the same page, it would be much easy to compare. Nevertheless, let's look into this one. So these are the various indices that's tracked, right? So one is global equity and US fixed income, Bloomberg, Barclays, and cash, what and all. These and all the various indices. Depending upon the asset class that you are in, if you had invested entirely in equity, for equity you are going to track this index. Look into this one. So last quarter this index had yielded a return of 14.68, which is quite massive, wherein considered my portfolio return it's 12.61. So it is really lagging to 2%. So in this case the index has bet, or the portfolio did not perform well, so it did not beat the index. So same is the case. How is the year to date performance and 1 year trailing? Both are 16 plus. Wherein if you look into this one, it's 10. So it's not a great return, but so the overall it did not the my portfolio did not beat the benchmark. So that is the yardstick that you are measured against, and that is what you all the time you hear from a portfolio manager or a wealth advisor that you have interaction. They would always claim that our strategy or our managed account portfolio performs great. We always beat the index. All these yarn why they are giving is that to woo money, right? Say only if they beat an index they can claim that yes they are performing far better or far superior than the standard benchmark. By the way they can get more asset and have you invest more, and it is a win-win situation. So if they generate more alpha, meaning they beat index and generate additional returns, that is called alpha. More the alpha, they are going to claim that they are the big guys doing a good return on investment, and thereby you invest money, you make money, and as a commission advisor also make money. So that is on the nutshell on what is this overall, how you look into the overall performance returns of your portfolio and compare against your standard market indices. So if you have investment account and you're receiving one of these like this quarterly performance report or a month on year-end performance report, take a look into this one. It will give a good insight how your portfolio is performing. And many a times as a retail investor we tend to ignore this one, but it is a good practice to go over this. And these are the various other exhibits, right? So the this is an asset class allocation. It tells that how many percent of asset class allocation, meaning like how much percentage is in equity and alternatives, all those things. And eventually you would also see the individual security level performance. So within your portfolio, let's say here all these are invested in mutual funds. Let's say had it been like an equity single stock, you're going to see Apple, Google, Amazon, etc., and it's going to provide you an the return on investment like last quarter, year to date, and so on and so forth. So really, performance report is a good indicator to comprehensively understand all the returns. All right, really did not want to get inundate with all the additional things, but having a brief understanding on performance reports and benchmark will help evaluate our returns. Thereby, if for whatever reason, if it is not, if our current investment are not doing well, we can reshift or refocus our strategy going forward. I hope it provides some context and helps. If you have any thoughts, comments, leave in your comment section, and talk to you in next video. Thank you. Bye.